Hello, I hope you're having a good day. Today we'll be watching the movie called Out of Darkness. Around 45,000 years ago, a group of people became stranded on a remote island. At first, they felt very happy and relieved to have escaped the place they once called home. As soon as they arrived, they began exploring the island in search of food. However, they quickly realized that the island was barren, and nothing edible was in sight. One day after landing, they still hadn't found any food, and with every passing hour, their hunger grew. Two men, Adam, who led the group, and his son Geir, decided to hunt animals nearby. Together, they ventured into a rocky valley, hoping to find something they could eat. They descended carefully, scanning their surroundings, but all they discovered were fresh bloodstains scattered everywhere, apparently from a giant mammoth whose remains had been reduced to bones, as if devoured by some other creature. The group included a young girl named Bella, who was not a blood relative but had been accepted among them. There was also someone named Odal, who had likewise been welcomed into the fold for survival reasons. Bella had just entered adolescence and began her first menstrual cycle that day. At first, she was confused about her condition. Adam's wife, who was pregnant, reassured Bella that she would be fine. Despite this, everyone knew they had to keep searching for a safer place to take shelter, so they continued across the inhospitable land until they finally entered a region covered in thick fog that made it almost impossible to see the path ahead. While shrouded in this fog, Adam's daughter, Geron, suddenly disappeared. Concerned and fearing for Geron's safety, especially with an unknown predator possibly lurking, Adam repeatedly shouted his daughter's name. In the distance, beyond the mist, he thought he saw something watching them, but when he looked again, the presence had vanished. Moments later, Geron reappeared and warned him never to wander alone again. They advanced until they found a place that seemed suitable to inhabit, as night was falling. Meanwhile, Adam and Geir continued searching for any prey they could bring back to feed everyone, but by nightfall, they still had nothing. Adam's pregnant wife felt her condition worsening and urgently needed food. Suddenly, Bella, by pure chance, saw something in the darkness behind Adam. Instantly, everyone formed a circle to protect themselves. It was too dark to see clearly. Without warning, Geron was dragged away by a mysterious creature. Adam wanted to chase after her immediately, but Geir pleaded with him not to risk it, thinking of his father and the unborn child. The next morning, they resumed the search for Geron, only to find her abandoned jacket. That day, the entire group focused on tracking Geron, even venturing into the forest. As dusk approached, they moved deeper until they reached an area filled with scattered bones. Soon, Adam sensed that the creature was nearby. As night fell, they were forced to retreat and ran away from the forest. They gathered dry wood and built a campfire, hoping to keep whatever was hunting them at bay. Bella managed to light the fire just as darkness descended. Adam listened closely, trying to detect the creature's movements by sound alone. At one point, he threw his spear into the woods and immediately rushed in to see if he had hit the creature. Once inside and now completely alone, he heard footsteps surrounding him. Suddenly, the creature attacked Adam, causing him to scream. His cries echoed all the way back to the camp, but no one dared to run after him. However, Adam's desperate scream prompted Geir to take action. Without hesitation, the team ran into the forest, determined to save his father. When they arrived, Adam was already defenseless. His jaw hung slack and he was on the verge of death. Everyone stood silently, unable to help him. In the end, it was Bella who found the courage to end his suffering and took his life. Immediately afterwards, still weakened by hunger, Geir collapsed to the ground. With no other option left, the group resorted to consuming Adam's flesh. Instead of continuing their efforts to leave the forest, leadership now fell to Geir. Unfortunately, he was unable to guide them out. Somehow they kept circling back to the same place they had started from. Odal believed they were being pursued by a malevolent force and was convinced that Bella's recent menstrual cycle was the cause of their misfortune. Driven by misplaced guilt projected onto her, O'Dall conspired to sacrifice Bella to the creature stalking them. Together, O'Dall and Ape forced Bella into the same bone-filled valley they had found earlier. However, Gear tried to help Bella, but they pushed him so hard that he lost consciousness. Taking advantage of the moment, Bella escaped. Outraged, O'Dall then decided to sacrifice Ave instead. He stabbed her in the chest, but just before he could leave her behind, Ave managed to break O'Dall's ankle so he too would become prey to the creature. The next morning, Bella and Gear were waiting in that gloomy place, anticipating that the creature would come to devour its victims. Soon, the being silently revealed itself. Bella approached it, grabbed it, and removed its mask, only to discover a human face beneath it. Stunned, they let him go, but Bella immediately pursued him, convinced he knew a way out. Gear, on the other hand, stopped, unwilling to follow someone who was clearly human. Bella tried to persuade him that their pursuer was more monster than man, responsible for destroying their group. Shortly after, Bella and Gear decided to track the stranger's footprints toward a nearby mountain. There, they discovered a network of caves they believed the masked man called home. Bella ventured into one cave while Gear explored a deeper one. Inside the passage, Bella encountered the stranger once again, triggering a desperate fight. Knowing she was physically outmatched, Bella pretended to collapse as if she had no breath left. Mistakenly thinking Bella had died, her opponent let his guard down, allowing her to injure him at the last moment. Meanwhile, Gear, alerted by the sounds of the struggle, followed the echoes through the darkness to reach her. Unshaken, Bella pressed further into the cave. Before long, she saw something moving within a pile of blankets. Upon closer inspection, she realized it was Jaren, still alive and sleeping. At that moment, in the hidden area, another figure appeared behind Bella, a woman determined to protect Jaren. Bella screamed and waved a lit torch. Gear, hearing her cries, ran in, only to find Jaren alive but frozen in place. At that instant, the woman struck Gear and brought him down with deadly force. Upon seeing Gear's lifeless body, Bella dropped her torch onto the woman's blanket, igniting a fire. She and Jaren quickly rushed through a narrow opening to reach a higher area. The woman followed them, pleading. Jaren pulled her through the tight passage, but the woman became stuck. Jaren tried to help her, even urging Bella to assist in freeing the woman's arm. Instead, in a final move, Bella delivered a decisive blow to the stranger. Jaren, furious, scolded Bella, declaring that this woman had once given her shelter and fed her when she was starving. In response, Bella tried to calm Jaren, pointing out that those people were responsible for the deaths of their loved ones. But as she listened to Jaren's words, Bella realized that the cave dwellers had been acting out of the same fear as they had. In fact, they had even prepared a burial for her and her baby as a sign of respect. Bella was deeply remorseful for what they had done. The two of them then decided to bury the dead and Gear nearby, acknowledging the humanity of those they had once feared. Realizing they had no better option, Bella and Jaren chose to remain in the cave, adapting to the survival methods practiced by its former inhabitants. At that moment, the film ends. I hope you enjoyed the video.